we did a Spaces on Sunday night for AEW Revolution. We started 15 minutes before the regular show. We caught some of the pre-show, which all we really need to bring up of that, I would say, is I mean,
that does say it all now, doesn't it?
I mean,
it was the pre-show.
Travis Scott, the Rizzler. I mean, yeah, no. I do like Big Boom AJ. I think he actually is a decent worker, and you know, you can at least tell he's into it and having fun. But yeah, we'll just kind of get started here and talk about the show. So thank you to all who did join us on the Spaces as well. We had over 50 different people watching at different points, and I think it was 8 or 9 people actually interacting and having a discussion with us. It was a fun time. You know, we kept it enjoyable. It felt more like one of the old pay-per-view watch parties versus a bickering session, which is apparently what most of the Spaces are. I've only really listened into a couple of them before we did this, so it was kind of shooting from the hip, but I think we were, you know, professionally unprofessional, and it was a lot of fun, and definitely something that I think we'll do again for sure.
A very well-behaved crowd.
Right? Yeah, everybody was civil.
Very civil, very nice.
Yeah, we had some disagreements, but people were able to make their points. You know, there was some talking over of people, and that's going to happen with it. But I want to shout out to Phil Marks from Pro Wrestle Times. He came in and joined us for a while, and I feel like that kind of jumped our numbers up for people that were listening, but they ended up staying because, you know, they were having a good time and being interactive. That's something that we're going to be big on. So, but yeah, we'll get into the show, and we both paid for it. We watched the entire show. I will say it was easy through Amazon. It popped right up. There was no issues. I didn't have any glitches or any problems with it. We seemed to also be on the same time, which was nice. I feel like sometimes with Peacock or even Netflix, sometimes somebody will be 10 seconds ahead or 30 seconds behind. Or if it's Phil and Dose, he's like 2 minutes behind, I feel like.
Yeah. No, it was perfect. I had no problem with it at all.
Yeah.
I know Trailer had a bunch of problems.
Right, and then what was the other one that they used? Like BR Live, I think they had issues with too.
Yeah, they use everybody now. You can get it.
Yeah,
everybody.
I feel like at least Amazon, you know, is a reputable source, and it did work. So I give them credit for that. That was good. And also give credit to the opening match of the show, which was MJF versus Hangman. And I mean, for me, that was probably the best wrestling match on the card. You know, they didn't do anything too insane. They kept it. They kept it mostly in the ring. There was a few of those outside spots, obviously, but I thought the story was done very well. I thought, obviously MJF looked great. He's always talented. And I thought Hangman did well as well. I was, excuse me. Sorry. It was a good match for sure. But what did you think about it, George?
It was my favorite match of the night. Because it was. I
was trying to think.
It started off nice. It started off good.
It did.
The pay-per-view. Plus, MJF's not stupid.
Yeah, they did a couple of crazy spots. The spot where he dropped him on his face, that's where I knew there was one spot that it did kind of scare me a little bit when Hangman did suplex me. I don't know exactly what that was. I think he was trying to end it more like a Blue Thunder Bomb on his full front, but it really landed all on his face. So I don't know if MJF has to do any premieres or any media for Happy Gilmore 2, but he might have some of that matte ring on his face.
Well, how do you feel? How do you feel about MJF losing?
I mean, because of who he is, he can lose without he can get his heat back, you know. And what really I wanted to think about, for me, what I thought was funny, at least, is that, you know, if MJF isn't in the main event or isn't in a big storyline, he goes first and gets himself out of there. You know, he finishes his match and he is out the door before probably the second or third match is completed. And
like I said, not stupid.
No, I was just going to say he's probably got that worked into his contract, you know, where he goes into it, because he definitely raked Tony over the coals with that deal. But I'm wondering if he will go away for a bit to do some promotion or media for the movie, because it comes out this summer, doesn't it?
I believe so. Plus, he's got no feud now. This is done? The question mark? Because you never do know.
Yeah, I mean, that definitely felt like it was done.
Yeah, okay, good. That's what I felt too.
You know, they did. I'm glad you brought that up, because I don't know if you remember, but it was, I don't want to say sometime in early February where there was a match on the Indies in Florida where MJF had that face-off with Big Boom AJ. I'm wondering if maybe that's what he'll do as some sort of.
Boy.
I mean,
really wish you wouldn't have said that.
I didn't say I want it to happen. That's not what I said at all. I didn't want it to happen. I'm just saying, like, where else is MJF going to go? I mean,
and Dynasty's not that far off.
Gosh, I forgot. I was thinking Double or Nothing. I forgot they are doing a second pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So
I'm not buying that one.
No. I'm gonna have to pass on that one as well. I mean, maybe we can. I'm happy to talk about it or watch some highlights, but I don't think that's anything I'm gonna spend too much time paying attention to. So
Page defeated MJF. I personally gave that match a nice thumbs up, an A, so to speak.
Yeah. It was who was it? Oh, I think it was Scully Vibes on Twitter asked me what to give some ratings for the matches, and I think I gave that it was either 3.5 or 4 flutes. I gave that.
Oh, we're going that way.
That was what
That's fine.
I was a little tired when he sent to me. I actually forgot. I'm glad you mentioned that.
We'll do it that way. I'll go with 3.
Yeah. That was a fair enough one. What I won't give 3 or 4 to was the next match on the card, which was Mercedes versus Momo Watanabe.
Close enough.
I mean, this match is what everybody expected it to be. It was a match for Mercedes, and she won.
Yeah.
I mean, did anybody?
Momo said, or Mercedes said, Momo, no. There you go.
Yeah. And I mean, this match gets on the card, but we can't get Harley Cameron on the card, who's literally been, I mean, I haven't watched that much AEW this year, but even I know that she's super over and has been performing well and the people love her. I mean, I know she came out and had like a run-in or whatever, but.
What you're saying is Harley Cameron versus Camille could have been much better.
Oh my gosh, especially with they had the director of the director of Queen of the Ring. They had another star of Queen of the Ring there, and they didn't be able to tie it to Camille. Oh.
Nor Britt Baker, by the way. They're both in the movie.
Oh, I forgot Britt's in the movie.
Britt and Camille have more significant roles than the two that we saw. Just for the record.
Right. I mean, because Camille's like the big. She's June Byers, right? She's the big. Yeah. No, I wanna go see that really, really bad. But unfortunately, the closest theater that's playing to me is like almost 25 minutes away. I'm like, there's a theater 10 minutes from my house, but hopefully it ends up on streaming soon because it does look good. So the next match on the card, which is a pretty good match, was Swerve versus Ricochet, which I didn't realize was a #1 contenders match. Did they say that on Dynamite beforehand? I only realized that at the end when they said,
put it up in the graphic. The graphic for the match, it says #1 contenders match for the AEW World Championship.
Okay. All right. Does it say it on the okay. I mean, all right. I mean, that's good. I guess that
I didn't see it at the time, but
I mean, I guess that's a good next feud for Mox, but I mean, the match was fine. Swerve should be more over than he is based on the booking. He's performed so well and he's got the crowd into him, but I just feel like, you know, it's like he gets right to that point and then goes right back down the hill. He can't actually get over the hump. And that's maybe this will do. Maybe this feud will work for him and get him over, but I just
how you liking the Ricochet thing here? How are you liking this?
I mean,
I don't mind it.
I don't either. It was annoying initially, but it's annoying. Initially, it was definitely more go away heat than heat. But I feel like he's at least done a little better and pulled back from being a complete douchebag online and about it. You know, there's levels to do it. There's times where it works, and there's other times where it feels like you're a 13-year-old girl. You know, his matches are always going to be entertaining. I mean, the guy's a very talented athlete. I'm interested to see what they do, and if they do bring in Samantha Irvin to work with him and be his manager / personal ring announcer, especially now that Swerve brought her up in that last promo.
I have an idea for you.
Yes, please.
How do you think Ricochet would do in the Mick Foley role in ECW?
where it's
don't give them what they want.
Right, dressed in the suit. Yeah, I mean,
because
I think that would
everyone
be
wants
great.
a big splash,
I mean, I think that would be great, especially because it would be something different, especially with what he's known for. And if he could pull it off, I would love to see him try.
Just throwing it out there.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's a good idea, especially, I mean, like I say, always got to be willing to try something different. That's why we did the Twitter Spaces. That was, get out of the comfort zone. That's where the success happens. Or worst case scenario, you fall on your face, but you learn from it. So no, I'd be all for that. The next match on the card was Brody King versus Kazuchika Okada. This was a great match
until
with a terrible finish. I will admit that I have not enjoyed any of Okada's run since he's come to AEW. I didn't watch that much New Japan, honestly, but I was one of those things where you have the right friends, they send you the link to the good matches or like what you should watch. And, he brought none of that to AEW that I've seen, but this match was at least good. He didn't look like he was phoning it in. There was actually some hard hitting action. They both had, their stiff shots. He had marks up on his chest and on his back. I thought it was a great match until that flat finish. Just, I mean, the short arm clothesline that he does isn't that great anyway, but
the Rainmaker.
Thank you. That's what it's called. The Rainmaker. I mean, in the sense that he's getting a giant paycheck, he's making it rain, but I mean, because Brody hit him with those like those those tumbles that he does in the corner. He hit him on the outside. I mean, he beat the crap out of him to end like that. I'd rather had like a run in or a or a fuck finish or something. I don't know. That match, that match really deflated me, and I really kind of feel like that's for me. I mean, the next match was good, but this is where the card really started to take a bad turn for me. I mean, the MJF match was great. The Monet match was what it was, and we knew that's what it was going to be, and that was fine. But then to go to this, the Swerve and Ricochet match was good. It was entertaining. It moved their stories along. But then this finish, you could feel it in the crowd, I felt like. I don't know about you.
I mentioned it during the show when we were doing our little review there. I mentioned the fact that when I first saw Okada on NJPW after TNA on Thursdays, I seen him and how defined he was and I mentioned it during the broadcast. I'm like, he just looks flabby. Remember I said flabby?
Yeah. You said him up and top. That's what it was.
That's what I said, yeah.
Yeah, no.
And I don't like picking on people, but I mean, you're a professional wrestler. At least look the part.
Right. And it's not like it's not like they're wrestling every night or every other night and on the road and having to eat, 2 a.m. Jack in the Box or something. Like you can make, you're absolutely right. And for me, it's the aggression, like obviously if you're not going to put into it, whether it's selling or even on his offense, I felt like he was just never aggressive enough and actually wanting to entertain. And maybe Brody brought it out of him. Brody King is definitely one of those people that I had never seen or really heard of before he came in AEW. And I mean, he's great. I think he would be great in NXT and be able to come up on the main roster as just a giant monster. But I feel like he needs to get pushed more in AEW, but unfortunately it seems like because his tag team partner is hurt, he's just going to be lost in the shuffle and do a bunch of jobs to people like this.
Boy, would he look good in the match with Cross.
Oh my gosh. Right?
That's popped into my head, man.
That would be fun. Yeah. Or him versus Gunther, like just two
fantasy booking.
Woo! Right? Which I'm not big on trying to fantasy book storylines, but there's certain matches where you're just like, or as I'll say with anybody, Jacob Fatu, please. And I want him to wrestle everybody that he possibly can. There's just, please give me more and more and more on that one.
Yeah, Okada took a beating during this match too. Like
he did.
He was all bruised up, but overall I gave it two flutes.
Yeah, I give it 2. Let me see. Yeah, that's about what it earned. I mean, it was what it was. Next match on the card was the tag team match. Was
Hurt Syndicate.
Hurt Syndicate versus the Outrunners, which, I mean, it was what it was. You knew the Hurt Syndicate was going to win. I'm not really sure where their storyline is going anymore. It seems like, yeah, they've got the titles, but it's kind of flattened out almost. I don't know.
Yeah, it's one of the weirdest title runs I've seen.
There's
nothing. There's nothing.
Exactly. Like, it's trying to explain how you feel about it, and it's just,
There's nothing there.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And like the Outrunners are cool. I mean, they're a fun gimmick, but they're a gimmick.
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't see any chance or any way that they're going to be, tag champions.
No.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's what it is.
Keep the belts on the Hurt Syndicate as long as you possibly can.
Yeah, absolutely.
Try to build the division around them somehow.
I mean, they still have the trios belts exist, right? Is that still a thing?
Couldn't tell you.
I mean, I would say have them win those and then just get rid of them. Like do the old Scott Hall with the TV title in WCW, or Nikki Cross with the 24/7 title. Just get rid of those. I mean, yeah. No, I would say that
I gave this match 1 flute.
I'd say at best it was 1.5, maybe. Okay. Yeah. I'll stick with that. The next match on the card was the women's title match. So the Hollywood ending is what they called it, which hopefully that is the end. I don't really think you can go right. There's nowhere else you can go after that. I mean, Tony decided to go all Eddie Guerrero and go with a full gusher. I had to make sure I got the picture here that wasn't be too offensive to YouTube.
They got that one shot of her when she first came up. She went in a little deep. She wasn't shy. You knew there was going to be blood. The only spot that I was kind of like oof on was the glass on the tape fist, the glass. Yeah, I agree.
I mean, I get it. I just feel like that was a bit much for everything they were going to do.
They didn't need to do it, Jake. I totally agree with you 100%. They just didn't need to do that part. Everything else was fine.
I was fine with that. I've got no issues with, blood in a match or, people having issues with women doing that in the match. It's for me, it's about the story. Is it worth doing? Was there a good reason for them to do it? And at least this storyline has been going on for long enough where it actually does matter. It's when they're doing it after they've been feuding for 3.5 weeks and all of a sudden it's a blood feud over. Yeah, that can be a bit much, but
this is a rare W for AEW. It's been a nice story. I mean, it's done now. Now what, Jake?
That was literally, that is exactly where I was heading with my next statement. Not so much for Tony because she's got the belt, so there's someone can challenge her for that. What are they going to do with Mariah May now? Because basically her entire time in AEW has been revolved either around Tony Storm or the belt. I mean, the smart move would be to have her beat Mercedes and turn babyface, but they're not going to do that, obviously. with Little Miss Creative Control. I don't really know where they can go with her though. I mean,
I'm just thinking in my head, there's maybe put Carly Cameron with her, or they two heel. It don't matter there.
I mean, that's not a bad. I mean, that would work. I just don't think.
I don't know, dude.
I see. The problem is like, while I think there's things that would work and work well, that booking, I just don't see them doing that. At least, at this point. I mean, it'd be cool. Looking at what I put in for the ratings, this was the match that I did rate. I had this one and MJF Hangman both tied at 4.
Which this one at 4?
Yeah, because 5's the best. Yeah, I feel like the glass on the fist pulled it back for me.
That's why I gave it 3.5.
Yeah, that's fair. No, that's fair.
Moving on.
You're right. And so for the next match on the card was Omega and Takeshita, which honestly I wasn't looking that forward to, simply just because I feel like Omega unfortunately is normally Captain No Cell and just spam. But I'll admit it, this match it seemed to me like he was working more, not a WWE style, but a smarter style, I feel like is the best way to say it.
Yeah, it was mentioned during the review that we were doing.
During the show.
Looks like he was not taking it easy, but being smarter.
That Exactly. There's a difference because he definitely was still doing a lot of his crazy stuff. You know, he was doing his dives and a lot of his moves and dropping, but it wasn't that it was because a lot of times it's not even so much the person that takes it that needs to sell it. It's the person giving the move needs to let it breathe.
Yeah.
You know, that moment
let it breathe, exactly.
yeah, like, you know, I just hit you with whatever the driver is or of whatever flip or sidekick or whatever it is to go right back to it and keep attacking. It just kind of, I don't know. It doesn't let the crowd get into it. And with how fast they do their matches, there's not that much time in between them. You know, you got to give these people a chance to react because otherwise the crowd will slowly start to die out, which unfortunately is what we saw as the show moved on. Yeah. But now Omega is was it the international? Yeah. International championship. So he's got that one again, too many belts, but we'll see where it goes with him. I guess
I'll give him credit. I'll give him credit on this one. I know people don't like him because of, you know, certain things, but I didn't like him either, to be honest with you, but I like the way this match went along. I gave it 3 flutes.
I gave it 3. No, it was a 3.5. No, 3. Take it away. Yep, 3.
Cool.
So then it goes to I guess the craziest match of the night, the one that
should have been the main event.
Yes, and I feel like most for the crowd in attendance, this is the one you're gonna go home thinking about with Kyle Fletcher and Will Ospreay in the. It was just a cage match. They didn't have anything else. It wasn't like a crazy title, right? They didn't call it like a, you know, Los Angeles cage, you know, just a steel cage match. Wasn't like a Brisbane brawl or whatever else they call them.
Straight up cage.
Yeah, and this match was what you expected it to be. This one I felt like was a lot more of just the spamming moves, no selling, move after move after move, do as much crazy things as you can, which gets a pop and is enjoyable to a point. But I can remember watching this with everybody and I think that there was a point where it just kind of all meshed together for me. And you're just kind of waiting for the big moment at the end when they do the giant Spanish fly or was the other one? Oh, yeah, where he dropped him, you know, directly on his head on the chair.
That looked bad.
Oh, gosh. I mean, that one. Yeah, the word on the street or the streets are saying that Will Ospreay is taking a little vacation so he can play the new Assassin's Creed game. That's what I've heard. So I don't know if that's true, but that game is being released this week or next week. I don't know. I stopped playing video games when I hit 40. So, but
can I
please
make a mention about cage matches?
Yes.
And see how you feel on these as opposed to my view.
Sure.
A cage match should be the first person out of the cage, both feet on the ground. That's it. They have pinfalls and submissions. I don't like that. It should just be first guy out.
Yeah.
Yourself?
I mean,
It's going to come up later because
right
in a match in the future we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
I don't like that. That's just me because I've watched so many of them when growing up that the only way you won is escape through the cage. There was no such thing as giving the guy your finish and pinning him in the middle of the ring. That didn't exist. You gave the guy your finish and you tried to get out.
Yeah, no, I was thinking of some old school cage match. I was thinking of was it Kerry Von Erich versus Ric Flair, where when the Freebirds turned on the Von Erichs, where because Michael Hayes was in there he hits Flair and he's trying to get Kerry to leave, and then he won't leave, and then Terry Gordy just wham hits him with the door of the cage. Because that's what I was thinking when you first said it. I'm like, well, yeah, as long as there's no door, because they can climb out. But no, you're right because then you can use the door and use it for the right thing.
But that's your personal taste.
It's one of those things that's definitely subjective. But I mean, for me, I think you're probably right. I enjoy those more, especially because then it gives the match its own flavor. Because if it just ends up with a pin or submission, like, yeah, they used the cage or whatever, but it wasn't as necessary. No, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I always like the cage, like the ones with where they would seal the door, so then you have to try to climb your way out and try to work with it that way. Those are It gets an interesting point, though. I like it. Now, this match just went on too long. It had way too much false finishes. Ospreay won, which, okay, great. This wasn't a title match or anything, right? Yeah,
no.
Yeah, but it's hard to remember. Everybody's got a belt in that company. Well, everybody's got a belt unless you have a briefcase with your belt. And for the final match of the evening,
what'd you give that one?
What did I give this one? I'd probably say 3, 2. No, I gave it a 2.
I was at 2.5.
Yeah, I mean, if they'd have went 5 minutes less, maybe 10 minutes less, but that's the other thing too. I feel like with cage matches or those gimmick matches, like it's supposed to be more of the brawl. Yeah, you kind of runs out after a point where it's you got to just like that was Speaking of other matches, that's the point we'll bring up in other cage matches, but the main event, I guess.
You can't overstay your welcome in the cage match, Jake. That's the thing. You got to get in, do your stuff, get out.
Yeah. I mean, that's same with like backstage brawls too. Yeah, you gotta. There's a point to where you're just like, all right, and then not much more you can do.
I'm trying to avoid the next subject.
I know, me too. And like, I mean, oh god, the match was bad. The finish was horrible. They made everybody look stupid except for for the people that didn't see it and didn't pay for the pay-per-view. It was Moxley versus Edge, or Cope, excuse me. The best part of the entire match was when Edge's music stopped and they played the rest of the song, or the fans sang the song.
Yeah, that's
which
cool.
I give that. There's certain songs that are just great entrance songs. That song's always been a great. It's not a song that I would listen to a ton. Like, I wouldn't listen to it in my car a bunch, but that's a great entrance song. The fans can sing it. Literally, if you ordered the pay-per-view and turned it off at that point, you probably had a decent experience. But unfortunately, there was another 30 minutes of overindulgent Moxley.
This was mentioned in the Bleacher Report as being a tone-deaf main event.
Yeah. No, that's a good way of putting it. Or at least the finish. I mean, I don't know. For me, like we talked about it on the spaces. I forget, someone brought it up. They're like, "What's the over/under on Mox and Cope going outside the ring?" And I said 4 minutes. They went out at 2.5. I was way off. Like, I mean, you just knew it was going to come. They were going to trade the stupid forearm blows back and forth. They're going to do whatever silly moves they want to. Mox pulls up the mat off the ground. It's paint by numbers. And then it was until Christian comes out, and does he write it in? I guess you're not cashing it in if you have to sign the.
This is when the discussion lost their minds.
Yeah.
Because wasn't it Edge was getting the cover and then Christian pulled him off? Was that how that was? Yeah. Then
or he pulled. I think he pulled the ref out. I think he pulled the ref out.
Yeah, that's when I lost my mind. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Either way, he did one of those finagle things that you do, and then he signs the contract. Did he even hit a move? I mean, I feel like he hit somebody with a move, and he was trying to pin Edge, and then
he got a spear in.
Okay, that's what it was, which isn't even really his move. That's Edge's move. It didn't at least hit the unprettier, man. Oh God, or the kill switch, I guess it's called now. And then Mox gets his lame choke in, acting like he's Billy Badass, even though we've literally seen video of him losing to a Home Depot clerk or a Applebee's waiter, which I'm still convinced until they show me the belt. He put that belt up in a jiu-jitsu tournament and he lost it. And there's a guy at Home Depot that he's attached his tools or whatever to. He's like working in the paint department with that belt wrapped around it. I'm telling you.
Cool though.
We haven't seen it. I'm just going with the evidence that's placed in front of me. I'm very pragmatic that way, and I'm convinced that's where that belt is. But
during this little chokehold thing, the part that got us going in the discussion was when Christian reached over to pin Edge, which I thought was going to be the ending.
That would have been perfect. Like, even though, like, and still Mox wouldn't have looked. He still would have been able to look like a Billy, like, Captain Badass, like he wants to be. But at least would have got the title off of him, because this is just not working. I mean, even the hardcore AEW fans aren't interested in this. Like
nobody's interested in this, but two people.
Yeah.
The guy giving the chokehold and the guy in the back going, okay.
I'm gonna give you this story, and yeah, this is a great one, John.
Man.
Yeah, man, this is great. I'm gonna choke him out.
Like, I don't understand how they don't see how they don't read the room. I mean, God, dang, Jake.
But I mean, that's a greater story of how many multiple times has that happened. I mean, just think of like what is it? The Acclaimed they didn't pull the trigger. I mean, yeah, but this one here was.
This is the main event.
You could feel it in the crowd, and you could hear it. And even by then, I wasn't even really listening that much. I was more into the Spaces chat because we had a bunch of people talking. More people, I think, more people wanted to jump in and talk about it once the match started because everybody was like, "Wait, someone's in a Spaces and I can yell about this match, please?" Because it just you could feel it in the crowd. Like, and then I watched. I went back and just watched that end on the replay from the pay-per-view, and it wasn't booing like we're mad, like we're upset. It was more just that's the noise that you got. It was just a complete. And then I guess they tried to save it and send them home happy by having Swerve attack Mox at the end. But did anybody care? No. Is the answer, because I'm not the biggest I use Twitter and I go online, but I don't usually see a lot of the AEW sickos or any of that. A lot of them have me blocked or muted, but even from what I've seen from people or that people have aggregated, nobody is excited. Even the best and most staunch defenders, everything that I've seen that says the pay-per-view was great, they all say just stop after the cage match. If you just stop after the cage match, the Mercedes match was okay. Like, no, that's not how it works. It's the show as a whole.
Yeah, but they're right.
They absolutely are right. They absolutely are. But
yeah,
you have the product as a whole, and that's where that show. I mean, that for me. Oh, my rating for this match was minus all the flutes. Like the
I don't go. I'm never going to go minus. I gave it a half a flute.
Yeah, or a 0, like whatever.
Whatever the talent's in there doing what they can. They can't put them all together.
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, you say the talent. I'll say 2 out of 3 of them were talent. Edge and Christian. I mean, I don't feel bad for them because they're making a ton of money, and they weren't really going to be used in WWE at this point with where they are, and really with the roster WWE has. It is sad to see, but. That was our AEW Revolution 2025 review. Yeah,